सर वन क्वेश्चन। सर हम लोग को एग्जाम देने वहां आना पड़ेगा?
मोस्ट प्रोबेबली यस। पता नहीं, अभी के लिए तो कुछ सर्टेन नहीं है क्योंकि एग्जाम्स आर बीइंग पोस्टपोन्ड लेफ्ट एंड राइट. They are meaning to keep the exam, but the thing is, you know how the situation is. Recently
यस।
उसका भी क्या बोलते हैं, I think CSIR नेट जो UGC का एग्जाम होता PhD का, उसका भी वो करे थे. तो you can understand अगर PhD के एग्जाम को भी उन लोग डिले कर रहे बोले तो I'm not sure what they'll do. So, but be prepared because out of the blue, suddenly they'll give you 1 month of time because that is the time required for, registration, what you call getting papers in order and all of that. You will have that amount of time. उतना notification आप expect कर सकते. एक महीना पहले बोलते हैं, उसके बाद exam डालते बोल के. So it is better to keep yourself prepared. At least have a
ओके
working knowledge of what is going on in the subject. At least 60% 70% भी knowledge रहा तो बहुत easily exam pass कर ले सकते. Pass क्या? You don't aim for passing marks, okay? You will fail if you aim for passing marks. Aim for 90% or 100%. You will fall a little bit short, or who knows? You might as well get 90%. There is no harm in getting that. So, well, coming to this thing, cholesterol. Coming back to cholesterol. Okay, how many of you all want me to repeat cholesterol biosynthesis once, or do you still have some doubts in cholesterol biosynthesis, any particular part, or anything that you want me to illustrate a little bit more in detail? पूरा को समझ में आ गया था what is cholesterol metabolism, formation of or synthesis of cholesterol? You can put it in the chat as well if you're not able to use your microphone. I'm not able to hear you, Adnan. I can see your microphone. There's some movement in your microphone, but I can't hear you.
Yes,
समझा ना?
sir.
समझ में आ गया. ओके. नो
Yes, sir.
सर पूरा नहीं आया. ओके. Which part नहीं आया? Someone didn't understand. So let me just switch to that image. 1 second. हाँ जी, कौन सा पार्ट समझ में नहीं आया इसमें? Okay, if you don't tell me specific part, then सर फर्स्ट लिंक में जाकर बताएगा सर आज शाम को. ओके, ठीक है. ठीक है. Then if no one else has any doubts, we'll forget about this for now. Don't forget about it, but keep it aside for now. Right, now coming to regulation of cholesterol. We looked at how cholesterol is being synthesized. That is well and good, but you need to have a regulatory mechanism of for cholesterol as well, or else you will have imbalance in the formation of cholesterol or in the amount of cholesterol that is present in your body. Now, generally speaking, the main way through which your body will regulate cholesterol is by controlling one particular enzyme called HMG coenzyme A reductase. One of the most important, I told you, that is the rate limiting step, if you remember. HMG coenzyme A जो है, that will be responsible for the conversion of acetoacetyl, it will be what do you call, responsible for the conversion of HMG CoA into mevalonate, that third step, right? पहले acetyl CoA से 3 बार उसको ट्रिपल करके you make HMG CoA, from HMG CoA you make mevalonate. That step when you are converting HMG CoA into mevalonate is catalyzed by the enzyme HMG CoA reductase. Your body will control HMG CoA reductase levels by several mechanisms or several controls. Okay, that is the rate limiting step, or that is also called the rate limiting enzyme that will control the rate of the reaction. Okay. Now, the controls that are employed by your body, one of them will be feedback control. फीडबैक कंट्रोल का मतलब क्या है? whenever in your body, not just for cholesterol, whenever you have something which is called feedback control, let's suppose I have some X hormone, okay, some random hormone, X hormone, and its level is decreasing in my body because of whatever reason. Let's suppose the level of X in my body has decreased. So what will happen is, suppose initially there is decrease in the amount of X. So this will lead to synthesis of X. Okay. Whenever synthesis of X happens, X levels will increase again, right? Whenever this level increases, what will happen is your body will sense this, and in turn it will decrease the synthesis of X. So that is how feedback control works. Whenever there is excessive of something, its synthesis will decrease, or wherever there is what you call low amounts of some particular hormone or enzyme, its synthesis will increase. That is feedback control, depending on the feedback that you are getting from that enzyme. So it started with a decrease in this thing. It can also start with this thing. If there is an increase in hormone, synthesis कम हो जाता है X का. When synthesis of X decreases, eventually what will happen is, यहाँ पर increased amount of X है ना, it will what do you call, this production will stop, and at one point of time it will get used up to the point where the amount of X is again low. When this happens, again synthesis of X will occur. That is feedback control. Depending on the amount of hormone that is present in your body will synthesize or stop the synthesis of that particular hormone based on the feedback it is getting from different receptors. ठीक है, एक हार्मोन को specific type of receptors रहते हैं, either in the blood or in the tissues, जिधर भी आप देख रहे, generally blood में रहते, blood vessels पे रहते. Okay, so coming to the feedback control of your cholesterol. Second. Right. Coming to the feedback control of your cholesterol, it is mainly through the control of HMG-CoA reductase. तो क्या है? Let's suppose I have cholesterol here. Okay. Let's suppose there is excessive amount of cholesterol present in your blood. This will cause a reaction in your liver or in the cells that are producing cholesterol, and it will literally decrease the gene. It will cause the decrease in transcription of a gene that is responsible for production of HMG-CoA reductase. To put it in simpler terms, the production of HMG-CoA reductase will decrease. Whenever cholesterol level increases, this enzyme level will decrease. If this enzyme level decreases, it will cause decrease in cholesterol levels. Basically, cholesterol production will decrease, and ultimately cholesterol will get used up. अब जब cholesterol levels fall below normal, let's suppose we have a range of cholesterol. The other day I told you there is a normal range of cholesterol which is healthy for your body. Let's suppose वो range के नीचे चले जा रहा, ठीक है? Let's suppose we have any particular hormone, यहाँ पर cholesterol ले रहे, let's suppose I have a range of X to Y, okay, mg per dl, whatever it is. अब X is the higher limit and Y is the lower limit. For example, यहाँ पर cholesterol initially higher limit पे है, तो क्या हो रहा, HMG-CoA reductase का level कम हो जा रहा. The gene that is causing the production of HMG-CoA, उसकी activity कम हो जाती. Okay, the activity of a particular gene, of that gene which is causing the production of HMG-CoA reductase, its activity will decrease. Whenever its activity decreases, this enzyme level will decrease. Whenever this enzyme level decreases, cholesterol production stops. If its production stops, ultimately what will happen is, so whenever production stops, we are moving from X to Y now. From a highest peak level, or let's suppose we were slightly above X, we are moving towards Y. At one point of time, we'll reach Y and we'll go beyond Y, wherein we are lower than normal levels. So if we talk with respect to cholesterol, we are going lower than the normal level, which is fine for cholesterol. So basically up 2 grams per kg body weight, this is the normal level. Okay, you will have a small range, but for now we'll keep it at 2 grams per what you call kg body weight. Generally you have a what you call total cholesterol level should be around 140 to 200 mg per dl serum में. Okay, in your serum total cholesterol should be around 140 to 200 mg per dl. matlab the lower end being 140 and the higher end being 200. So x is 200, y is 140. मतलब जब भी 200 के ऊपर गया, let's suppose your cholesterol level is 250 at one point of time, HMG-CoA reductase levels will decrease. Whenever HMG-CoA reductase levels will decrease, production of cholesterol stops. So from 250 it will start decreasing. Now let's suppose it is decreasing and going towards 140, slowly it will go towards 140. At one point of time it is going lower than normal. Let's suppose it reaches all the way up to 120. What will happen at this point is another reaction will be triggered. Now here lower amounts of cholesterol will trigger the production of HMG-CoA reductase. Meaning in this scenario what will happen is HMG-CoA reductase levels will increase. In turn this will cause increase in cholesterol. Meaning again this fellow will start going towards 200. That is feedback control. समझ में आया? Did you understand what is happening here? It is a loop.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now that is one control. Now there are other controls as well. You have something called hormonal regulation. So one second. Just the next one is hormonal regulation. Now this again affects your HMG. See, all of these controls will affect your HMG-CoA reductase in different ways. Now when we talk about HMG-CoA reductase, that fellow can exist in two forms. One is phosphorylated form, the other is dephosphorylated form. Meaning one form will have a phosphorus, the other one will not have a phosphorus. Someone had it out. No. Okay, so the dephosphorylated form is more active. So I'll just put that down. Dephosphorylated form of HMG-CoA. Okay, matlab जब भी it is phosphorylated it will be somewhat inactive. Whenever it is dephosphorylated it will be more active. Hormones do exactly that. What hormones do is they will favor the production of one or the other type of HMG coenzyme A, or they will favor the conversion of HMG coenzyme A either into phosphorylated form or dephosphorylated form. So for example, if I have glucagon or glucocorticoids, glucagon, what is glucagon? Who is glucagon? The main glucocorticoid we'll be talking about is cortisol. Both of these cause inactive. What is glucagon? But बार पढ़े ना what is glucagon?
Peptide Breakdown of
produced by alpha cells of the pancreas.
What does it do?
which helps in the breakdown of food.
Concentration of glucose and fatty acid
हाँ,
rises.
क्या करता उन्हें ग्लूकोज कॉन्सेंट्रेशन को कम करता बढ़ाता?
Rises है बढ़ाता था.
बढ़ाता. Good. So glucagon is something that is exactly opposite to your insulin, and it will cause hyperglycemia. All right, as someone told, I don't know who answered, but very well. It is a hyperlipidemic drug. It is a hyperglycemic drug. Sorry, and it will increase the production of glucose by getting secreted out of your alpha cells of your pancreas. And does it function? Now, glucagon and cortisol, there are other glucocorticoids as well. The most important glucocorticoid will be a cortisol. Both of them will cause the formation of inactive form of your HMG-CoA reductase, meaning they will favor the production of phosphorylated form of HMG-CoA. Whenever phosphorylated form is formed, meaning they will tend to push HMG coenzyme A to become phosphorylated. Whenever it becomes phosphorylated, this fellow will become inactive. If it becomes inactive, guess what happens? Cholesterol level decreases. Okay, so you can also tell whenever there is higher amounts of glucagon and glucocorticoids, cholesterol production decreases indirectly. Okay, I can correlate it that way as well, no? ऐसा भी बोल सकता हूँ मैं. It is happening through HMG CoA reductase inactivation, but ultimate result is cholesterol level decreases. On the opposite end, you have insulin and thyroxine. So insulin and thyroxine. Thyroxine T3 है T4 है?
T3 sir.
T3, good. The form of HMG CoA reductase. So insulin and thyroxine, both of them will cause the formation of active form of HMG CoA reductase, meaning they will cause the dephosphorylation of that enzyme. Whenever that enzyme gets dephosphorylated, the end result will be cholesterol level increases. So I can also tell insulin and thyroxine, both of them will cause cholesterol increase, whereas glucagon and glucocorticoids will cause cholesterol decrease. That is how hormones will regulate it. So you can also tell that in one way, whenever I am having stimulation, that is how your body is interlinked. If you have stimulation of either glucocorticoids or glucagon, one secondary effect that you will have is cholesterol will decrease. Okay, by inactivation of HMG CoA reductase, and whenever your body is producing insulin or thyroxine, you can tell that cholesterol levels will increase through activation of HMG CoA reductase. That is hormonal regulation. Okay. Doubts hai to please stop me. Else I'll keep continuing at this pace, thinking that you're understanding. Please feel free to ask doubts. The next control will be inhibition by drugs. Inhibition. So there are mainly two drugs, specifically Compactin and Lovastatin. Now in next year's pharmacology, you will study about specific drugs called hyperlipidemic drugs. They will cause direct decrease in lipid levels. Lovastatin is one such drug. Both of these drugs are fungal products, so you get them from some specific type of fungi. Now these drugs will directly decrease the amount of serum cholesterol that is present in a patient, sometimes to a degree where almost 50 to 60% of serum cholesterol is decreased if you use both of them together. If you are giving a patient Compactin and Lovastatin together, what happens is serum cholesterol levels in a patient can decrease by almost 50% to 60%. So they can be pretty handy in patients who have cardiovascular disorders. If you see patients who are having some heart problems, unke andar, other than, let's suppose if they have hypertension and they have atherosclerosis or something like that, in those patients, other than giving just antihypertensives, doctors also prescribe them anti-hyperlipidemic drugs. So one of the most common drugs that you will see is atorvastatin. Several brand names will be present, but atorvastatin, Lovastatin, all of those are very common. You have a big list. For now, we'll just consider those two. That is through your drugs. Then the last will be through your bile acids and fasting. So role of bile acids and fasting. ठीक है. Bile acids कौन है? Who are bile acids? Any two of them?
Colic and
करेक्ट. एक आ गया, एक और बोलो. 50% करेक्ट. Colic and deoxycholic. उतना ही याद रखो. That is, see, you have 4 different types. Okay, you have cholic, deoxycholic, chenodeoxycholic, and lithocholic. Those are the 4 bile acids that you will find. Most common ones are cholic acid and deoxycholic acid. Bile salts will be glycine and taurine that are combined with bile acids. Okay, That is the only thing that you need to remember. If you want to make it bile salt, just add glycine and taurine to it, two amino acids. If you want to keep them in acidic form, they are cholic acid, deoxycholic acid, chenodeoxycholic acid, and lithocholic acid. Though the most important ones will be cholic and deoxycholic acid. Okay. Now, your HMG-CoA reductase activity is inhibited by bile acids. So whenever there is increase in the amount of bile acids, HMG-CoA reductase activity will decrease. Fasting will also decrease the activity of this enzyme. So both fasting and bile acids will cause a direct decrease in the amount of cholesterol in a person's body. So these are the 4 ways through which you can control cholesterol, or your body controls cholesterol, serum cholesterol levels. Right now, coming to substances that are derived from cholesterol, you have several substances like that steroid nucleus which is present in cholesterol. Yesterday when we were discussing about cholesterol synthesis, I told you about that steroid nucleus. We saw initially upon, I think when we started lipids and all, I told you what are steroid nucleus, which we saw yesterday both in lanosterol and in cholesterol being a 27 carbon compound. That steroid nucleus cannot be broken down very easily. So instead of breaking down, what your body does is it will convert it into other products, and it will be the precursor for several other products, in the sense that, once again, I'll show you an image so it will be easier for you to understand. Yeah, see, so these are some of the most important products that you will get from cholesterol. Cholesterol will directly get converted into pregnenolone to progesterone, and progesterone can in turn be converted into cortisol, aldosterone, and estradiol. You will also get androgens and all of them. We'll get into that in detail, but uh, this is a brief picture of what cholesterol products look like. Okay, you will also get vitamin D, you will get some other products from these as well. Like you get glucocorticoids, melanocorticoids, androgens, estrogen, progesterone, all of them you get along with vitamin D. But this is a general picture so that you get an overall idea what is happening. Now, coming to the products that you get from cholesterol, the first one will be bile salts. So cholesterol plays a role in the formation of bile salts. Now, bile salts are very important for the digestion of fats. Okay, without bile salts, you will not have proper digestion of fats. Now, these bile salts are present in your bile, obviously, and whenever you are consuming food, or whenever there is presence of food in your small intestine and your stomach, what happens is your gallbladder, which stores these bile salts in your what you call bile. अब आपके बाइल में कैसा रहता बोले तो if you see your bile, it is a proper fluidic substance. In your bile you will have several substances. You will have bile salts, bile acids in various concentrations. One second. So you have around, I think 70% of it will be bile acids and bile salts, okay, in your bile. 10% will be cholesterol. Then around 5% will be phospholipids. Main phospholipid is lecithin. Okay. You have a little bit of proteins, 5% proteins. You will have 1% of conjugated bilirubin, trace amounts of unconjugated bilirubin. See, bile will also have unconjugated bilirubin. Please don't forget that. Please don't think that bile will only have conjugated bilirubin because of hepatic bilirubin conversion. It will also have unconjugated bilirubin, but in very, very trace amounts. Okay? And you will have a little bit of water, electrolytes, and bicarbonates present in bile. Now, these will play, especially these three, bile acids, bile salts, and phospholipids, play a very important role in making sure that cholesterol remains in bile, because cholesterol is a very, very concentrated lipid, and this is technically a liquid. ठीक है, it is hydrophilic. Bile is hydrophilic. उसके अंदर अगर मैं oil को dissolve करने की कोशिश करा तो नहीं होता. Imagine what will happen if you put a oil drop in water. It will not get dissolved. So in order to keep it stable, in order to keep cholesterol stable, bile salts, bile acids, and lecithin, phospholipids, are very important. What they will do is they will cause the formation of micelles. इससे पहले we studied briefly about what is a micelle. Now, how these three form a micelle is, one second. So let's suppose you have bile acids like this, bile salts and bile acids, and you have your phospholipids like this. They will make the hydrophilic end. Okay, they will be soluble in bile and they will be soluble in water, and they will make the hydrophilic part, and inside this you will have cholesterol. Okay, so that the inner part will be lipophilic and the outer part which is exposed to bile is hydrophilic. This whole structure that you are seeing, this is a micelle, all right, with a hydrophilic end. So this is hydrophilic, and this is the phobic end, cholesterol. One second, phobic end. Okay, if any of these three go out of concentration, in the sense that if you have any imbalance either in bile acid, bile salt, or you have imbalance in phospholipids, what will happen is this cholesterol comes out because it is very unstable in your bile. It will come out and these molecules of cholesterol will aggregate together and they can form a gallstone. Okay, that is why it is very important that the proper ratio of bile salts, bile acids and phospholipids should be present in your bile. One important product that you get from cholesterol itself is your bile salt, sorry. Okay, that is one important significance of your bile salt, and they are very important in the digestion of your lipids as well, in the sense that whenever you're eating something which contains fat, so obviously you will have fat in almost every meal. It is almost impossible to consume food without fat because you use oil as a base, so fat will be there, and as such several substances have fat inside them as well. Now whenever you have these what do you call fatty substances, whenever it reaches your small intestine through the stimulation of your cholecystokinin being produced by your small intestine, your gallbladder will get stimulated and it contracts. When it contracts, bile gets released along with bile salts and bile acids, and bile salts play a very important role in emulsifying the fat that you are consuming. So whatever dietary fat that you consume, they need to be emulsified. Initially in this chapter itself we studied about the digestion of lipids, in which we told emulsification of fat is very important for it to be absorbed. Without emulsification you cannot have absorption of lipids. Bile salts will be very important for emulsification. So in one way you can also tell that cholesterol has a what do you call nutritional value as well, not just directly but indirectly, because it is influencing the absorption of other lipids. Okay, the cholesterol that you produce in your body which is converted into other products, those products in turn have their own functions. One function from that product, which is bile salt, will be absorption of other lipids. If you do not have enough amount of cholesterol, you will not be able to, indirectly I can also say that if you have less amount of cholesterol in your body, you will not be able to absorb fats properly because bile salt levels will decrease, right? Whenever you have low amounts of cholesterol, let's suppose you have low amount of cholesterol, because of this bile salt level will decrease, because of which lipid absorption decreases, right? So it is indirectly affecting your nutrition, right? That is one product that you get from your what do you call cholesterol. Now the next some important functions other than this of your bile salts will include lowering surface tension. So it will lower surface tension wherein emulsions can be easily formed. It will accelerate the action of your pancreatic lipase. Now whenever food is present along with bile, you will also have pancreatic lipase coming in. That pancreatic lipase also is responsible for the digestion of your food. Both pancreatic lipase and bile will work together and break down food even more. Now during that period of time, bile salts will work in accelerating the function of the pancreatic lipase, where food will be broken down even further and faster. Bile salts are important for micelle formation, which I just told you. They are very important for absorption of vitamins, especially fat soluble vitamins, ADEK, and one particular component called carotene. Without bile salts, you will not be able to absorb carotene properly. Okay, and they are responsible for what do you call choleretic action. Choleretic action का मतलब है, so bile salts are responsible for, they are choleretic agents. Choleretic agents. Choleritic agent का मतलब क्या है? That agent will cause the production of bile. So bile salts in turn cause the production of more bile. So let's suppose someone has eaten a lot of food, or they are continuously eating for some period of time, and bile production has increased. Okay. During that period of time, what will happen is, initially bile is coming out along with bile salts and all of them, and let's suppose more and more food is coming in to be digested. Bile salts in turn can cause the production of bile from your liver, so that it can reach uh, your small intestine and further digest. Okay, let's suppose you have some x amount of food. Let's suppose this is the amount of food that you have, and it is slowly reaching your small intestine. Initially a little amount of this much amount of food reached your small intestine, which triggered the reaction causing bile to come in. Okay, let's suppose this is bile that is coming in along with bile acids and bile salts. Okay, now as more and more food keeps on coming, what these bile salts will do is they will stimulate your liver to produce more bile. More bile, if more bile is present, more bile will come out, and more amount of food can be digested. Okay, so that all the food that you are consuming can be actually consumed and can be used. If you do not have enough amount of bile, that food will go to waste. You will not be able to break it down completely, and you will not be able to absorb it completely. Intestine में absorption के लिए you need to break it down completely. Okay, so that is choleritic action, and it will be responsible for solubility of cholesterol in micelle formation itself. Okay, so those are some of the important functions of your bile salts. Next product that you get from cholesterol is steroid hormones. I'll start steroid hormones in the next class. Okay, I'll just take your attendance for now.